Hey Siri, what's the temperature outside?
It's 3 degrees right now.
I have the perfect car.
Hello everybody, welcome to number 27. So it's been a while since I've done any filming in Fred the Frog, and the weather hasn't been great, although that hasn't stopped me before, but I've had so much to do with the Ferrari and then with the Lotus and then other stuff that I just haven't had time. But for a while I've wanted to set this up properly. It came with a 948cc engine, I think they came with at the time, and it needed a rebuild anyway, and it all escalated, and eventually, you know, I decided to go for a 1275 Cooper engine, but then I got that bored out to 1380, then I put a Datsun 5-speed box, and I put a hotter cam on it, etc, etc. So it's now quite a different beast to what it was before, and I've set it up as best I can, but I don't think really it's quite there. So I'm going to take it to Richard Walmer. I can't remember what the company's called, I'll mention it afterwards, but they race these and they have a rolling road, and he will set it up properly for me. It's pretty cold outside, but I don't know, it's every time I get into this car it just raises a smile. I have fixed the windscreen wipers, so hopefully it won't rain today, but if it does, I won't have the nightmare that I had last time where I got completely soaked, the car got drenched because it has no top and the wipers weren't working. So that was one of the worst journeys ever. But it'd be really interesting to see what Richard, you know, how it drives after Richard's had a good go on it and what power it develops. In theory, the guy who built the engine for me told me that it should be close to sort of 85, 90 at the crank. So what that's going to be on a rolling road, I don't know, but it will be interesting to see. So I'm here at Walmer Classic Engineering. It's been like an hour and a half drive, and actually it wasn't too bad considering the cold. The guys are strapping it up, and we're going to do the first dyno run and actually see what that 1380cc engine is putting out. So we've got the before and after curves here, and we'll be talking about that. But we started, Richard, with an F15 Venturi, I think it's called Venturi?
Emulsion tube.
Emulsion tube, sorry. And it had, I think, a 155 main or something along those lines. And
200 airs.
200 airs. Yeah. And it wasn't running terribly. I mean, the plugs showed that it was a little bit lean at the top, but it was okay, right?
Yeah. So, for kind of someone who set it up in his garage on the road, I was quite impressed actually.
Fantastic, that's brilliant. But obviously Richard's managed to make quite a big difference, and we're aiming for, this is a road car first and foremost, so we're aiming for, you know, a nice sort of flat torque curve.
You've got to try and keep the drivability in it. That's the important thing on a road car.
Perfect. And so what we started with, first of all, was a run which was at 81 horsepower and 83 peak torque though, so that doesn't really mean that much. Yeah. We ended up with an F16.
F16.
And then the main was...
So 145 main jets and 150 airs.
150 airs, so much smaller air corrector as well. You can see throughout the torque curve and the power curve that throughout the rev range we've gained quite a few horsepower, so about 10 horsepower mostly through most of the range, which is amazing.
And 9-10 horsepower and about 8 or 9 foot-pounds of torque across the range.
That's fantastic.
So I'm actually really pleased with that. I thought it would be more like sort of 80 horsepower. So the engine builder, John at Weber Motorsport, did tell me to expect about 90 horsepower or so, but 90 horsepower at the back wheels, brilliant, and that exceeds my expectations by quite a bit. So when you adjust for sort of losses on the dyno and so on, and at the back wheel, at the crank, should be really close to 100 horsepower, which for a fast road engine is just brilliant. I'm just over the moon.
Crucially, how does it feel on the road? Even in that just short little sprint, I can tell you it feels better. It feels much better. It's not a complete world apart. I think, as Richard said, it wasn't massively far off before, but it's definitely better. It's got that off throttle splutter that Webers get, and that's just the way it is. But yeah, it now feels smoother, more linear, and just with a bit more pep, which I guess would, you know, it's gone up 10 horsepower, it's got a bit more torque in the mid-range, it just drives better. So on the whole, really worth doing. I recommend Warmer Engineering. They race these cars, they really know what they're doing, these guys, and a big thumbs up as well for John at Weber Motorsports, who built the engine. I'm really happy with essentially 100 horsepower at the crank. I think that is really good. I was expecting about 90. Now don't get me wrong, this is still no ball of fire, but for what it is, you know, it weighs 600 kilos, I think. It's a lot of fun, and it just goes that little bit better now. It's great, really pleased. Thank you everybody for watching. Please keep an eye out. While there, I also did a video on an absolutely nuts Mark II that Richard has. You've got to see it. I'll put the link up at the end of this video, or search for it. It is absolutely mental. Thank you all as always. Please do follow me on Instagram, and please do subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you for the next video.